Hi, thank you for joining us for a moment for hope. I'm Kyle Terwilliger. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 say, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will make your paths straight." As I was thinking about those verses today, I thought back to years ago when I was working at a camp in Michigan. It was during the summer, and for most weeks the kids who came were between the ages of 8 and 12. But we had 1 week that was teen week. Now during this week we would stay up later because it was teenagers. So chapel would be our last thing at night before we headed to the dorms to go to bed. One night early in the week we went to chapel, and when it let out it was after 10 o'clock. And when we walked out the door it was dark. That wasn't a problem at first because there were lights and we were in an open field. But as we walked further towards the dorm, we realized that we had a problem because the dorm that we were in, it was in the woods and there weren't lights and there were just narrow paths to get to it. We got to the point where the lights ended, and all of a sudden a bunch of us just plain stopped and stood there. All of us had forgotten to take flashlights and we didn't know where to go. We stood there and we waited. It seemed like a really long time. It was probably only about 5 minutes or so until someone finally turned on one of the lights at the dorm. That light lit the way for us to get to our dorm and for others to get to 3 dorms that were all around us. Now, Jonathan, can you come on up here and help us out for a minute? If you'll go ahead and take that cup out of there and pour some of the blue water in there, and then put the cup back into this box. When we were there at camp that week, that time became a difficult time for us. We needed that light to guide us, to show us the way to the dorm. When we go through life and when life gets difficult, where do we turn? Who do we look to, or what do we look to guide us, to lead us? Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 that I mentioned earlier say, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him." Look to him and he will make your path straight. And then in Psalm 119, 105, it says, "Your word is a lamp to our feet and a light to our path." God is the one that we should look to, and he gives us the word to be our guide. Jonathan, would you set that down? Go ahead, take that cup out of there. And you can see that the water is still there, even though the box got turned upside down. Our lives are going to be difficult. At times, maybe even right now, it's going to feel like our lives are turned upside down. When those times come, we need to remember to look to God and to look to his word, and he will show us the way to go. I was having devotions today, and there were a couple verses from 1 Peter chapter 1 that just kind of jumped out to me about hope. And I've asked Lydia to come on up here, and she's going to read those verses. They're 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 3, and the start of verse 4. Go ahead, Lydia.
Praise be to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. In his great mercy, he has given us new birth into a living hope through the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead, and into an inheritance that can never perish, spoil, or fade.
Let's remember to look to Jesus and his word. He died on the cross, he rose from the dead, so we can have living hope.